Hi, I'm Monique from Boxcar Marketing with your 1-minute marketing tip. And today's tip is about the traffic acquisition report in GA4. So this report is most similar to the report you're familiar with in Universal Analytics, the all traffic, all channels report. So we have the breakdown of traffic here by default channel grouping. There's a card that shows us channel grouping over time. We have a bar chart that shows us the same information in a slightly different visualization. And then we have the tabular data, which is more familiar to us in terms of what we see in Universal Analytics. So the channel groupings, you'll see a lot of the familiar groupings like direct, display, paid search, referral. And you'll notice that GA4 has some additional channel groupings like cross-network, organic social, organic video. And if we expand the number of rows per page, then we'll see email and affiliates, organic shopping. So there's a few more defaults. And then of course there's unassigned. So there's no channel rule that matches the source of this traffic. Another thing you'll notice in this report is that we don't have the drill down that we're familiar with. So in Universal Analytics, we can click on referral and we can see the sources of that traffic. So Universal Analytics, we have a function here where we can change what appears as our primary dimension. So we could say, show us session source instead of default channel. That's going to give us all the source traffic. But to find the information that was most similar to that drill down, we can add a secondary dimension. So we click that plus sign instead. We can go to session acquisition and say, show me the source medium. This still means that you'd have to scroll down to see the source of that referral traffic, but it does allow you to get a quick view of the source of that traffic rather than just the channel default. In your own version of analytics, you will have ways to export this data. You can use it in Data Studio and create that kind of drill down report that you're familiar with. But this is just the demo account, so I can show you how these functions work. The other consideration in this report is that GA4 tracks users and sessions differently than it does in Universal Analytics. So here you'll see that users is a total number of active users. So active users within the last 28 days. When we see users as a metric in Universal Analytics, it means total users. So if you're trying to compare the GA4 numbers to Universal Analytics numbers, you have to be mindful that sometimes things are labeled the same, but they're not actually tracking the same things. So GA4 users is active users. Sessions. In Universal Analytics, a new session started after 30 minutes of inactivity. New sessions started at midnight. If there was a change of source, so someone came to your site via email, and then within the 30 minutes, they saw your Facebook ad. So they've come to your site twice, once via email and once via Facebook. In Universal Analytics, you would see that counted as 2 sessions. But what's actually being tracked in GA4 is session start. So this is the number of sessions that began on your site or app. So there's some discrepancies there. Engaged sessions in Universal Analytics, we had bounce rate. Bounce rate doesn't make a lot of sense in the way that GA4 works. So in Universal Analytics, bounce rate, if someone came to your site and they scrolled down a particular page, reading all the content, they tabbed through different pieces of information without actually changing the URL, and then they left the site, that was still considered a bounce. They didn't look at any more pages. In Universal Analytics, we are counting engaged session as people who scroll, people who tab or click on various pieces of content. So I think that engaged sessions is actually a much better metric than bounce rate. Other things we have here, events. So every interaction with the content in Universal Analytics is an event, and we can ask this report to show us all event counts, or maybe we want to see page views or purchases, so get a transaction number there. Maybe we want to look at view cart or add to cart, so we can pick any of the things that are events. We can ask this report to show us just that element instead of all elements. Now, conversions are goal conversions, and so we toggle on in GA4 any event that we want to track as a conversion. These are the conversions that the Google demo account is tracking, but in your version of analytics, you can toggle on the events that make sense to you. Things like file download or newsletter sign up. Anything that you're tracking as an event, you can toggle on as a conversion. And then last, we have our revenue row as well. So you need to have e-commerce tracking set up in order to view this data in your GA4 report. So that's the traffic acquisition report. Again, it's most similar to the Universal Analytics All Channel report. And you have some differences in how things like users and sessions are reported, and a couple of areas of different functionality in this report than you have in Universal Analytics. I'm Minik from Boxcar Marketing, and that's your tip for today. Thanks.